Thanks and welcome back to The Modern Office, the show where we discuss the tools, tips, and news that you need to be successful in the modern office space of today's world. Today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Sway, a different kind of presentation tool from what you're probably familiar with presentation or Google Slides. Sorry, PowerPoint or Google Slides. So what is Sway? Sway is an online office app that lives in Microsoft 365 or on sway.office.com, and that's where you can find it. It's highly collaborative and highly media-centric, which makes it great for modern office work. So just to start off, I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to sway.office.com and select a template. You can, of course, start from a brand new Sway, create new, or from a topic. You can also create one from a document, but that's a little bit more complicated, and we're just going to start off from a basic one. The templates are great because they really give you a base for what it would look like to show your presentation. And of course, all of this is going to be changeable because, of course, these text blocks don't really make sense for a live presentation, and these pictures are not what you're going to be wanting to use for most likely the kind of work you're going to be showing. But we're going to be starting off with this template, and we'll be replacing as we go. Now, why would you use Microsoft Sway versus, say, Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides? There's a couple of reasons. Firstly, Sway is highly collaborative. You can see right at the top, you can go ahead and allow people so mainly your teammates, to edit this alongside you. And when they come in, just like with any other Microsoft application, you'll be able to see their names appear up at the top, and you'll be able to make changes in real time with each other. And that's an invaluable skill here. Additionally, it's highly media-centric. So unlike, say, PowerPoint, where inserting media can sometimes be a little bit of a chore, and getting it right where you want it, and getting the positioning right, and finding a video, and getting the formatting correct. And even in Google, which sometimes has the problem of getting caught in your company's firewall, Microsoft Sway is an easy, accessible format for both entry and also for how it appears in the final presentation. Additionally, Microsoft Sway is a quick turnaround product. At the base, you'll notice that when we started off with this presentation, the formatting was already done. And if we don't like it, we can quickly change it. But using AI, Microsoft Sway is able to automatically create the kind of formatting that it thinks you'll like. And if you don't like it, it can also change it for you, and we'll get to that later. But the key to that is that if you are running low on time and you don't have the time to endlessly push around documents by 1/4 of a centimeter, Sway is the tool for you. And finally, it's got a modern look to it. PowerPoint at its base is really just the digital version of a flip chart, or really a slide deck, which we've been using for time immemorial to give business presentations. This program looks a lot more like the media kind of that our audiences and ourselves are familiar with since the tipping point of smartphones, a decade ago, and the growth of internet-based information sharing and services. So it does behoove us to meet our client, in this case our internal client, where they are, and show them information in the format that they're used to seeing. So let's go ahead and get started here. Our project today is going to be, we'll do how to groom our dog. And I'm just going to preface this with, I'm not an expert dog groomer, so we're just going to be using this as an example. Please don't hold me to anything I say here. Just a disclaimer there. So text boxes are fairly simple, but what you'll notice when we do the actual design page, so this is the editing page or storyline, and all you do here is you input images, text, video. Essentially, you put in information here. You can think of it as your input screen. Let's de-emphasize that. In Sway parlance, emphasize is bold, and you can actually access it with Control plus B. And accent is italics, and the same thing with Control plus I. So our heading 1 card, I'm going to say that is going to be Clippers. And I don't really want I want this picture of this girl here. I instead would like to change that. So let's go ahead and change the picture of the girl here. And I'm going to go to Insert. Now, what's great about this, again, like I said, it's AI powered. So it sees that I have dog here, and it actually suggested pictures of dogs. So let's go ahead and just use one of the pictures that it shows here. And I like this guy. We do this cute picture of a dog here, and we're going to put that there, and we're going to delete the picture of the girl. That is one of the things you'll have to keep in mind. Remember, this program is supposed to be simple and dummy proof. It doesn't automatically delete a lot of things. So like when you replace that picture, it just moved it down. And that's so that you had a kind of a stopgap, and you could go ahead and delete it if you wanted to using the trash can button, but it didn't delete it automatically. All right, Clippers, we're going to do the same thing. Insert and insert. And oh, it says Clippers. Now here's where that AI is going to be problematic, because what did I get here? I got the LA Clippers. So let's get dog grooming. And oh, poor guy. There we go. Okay. Now this is a main text section, so we'll go ahead and throw our text in there. All right, perfect. Now you'll notice there's a lot of already pre-built things here. Remember, we used a template, but the great thing about this program is we're just going to click and paste. These work much the same way as the templates in PowerPoint or Slides do. But there's no reason that we can't just, again, replace and move on from there. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the ones we're not using just from the start, because I already know how we're going to go about doing this for our presentation today. Okay. So who's currently using Sway? What kind of groups? Mostly it's education right now. Teachers and students are big fans of Sway because of its adaptable format and the collaborative nature of it. A teacher can assign a presentation, and they can watch a project, and then they can watch the students go through it. It's also a big favorite among project teams because, again, project teams can work on the same thing. A project leader can assign work into the group, and then they can see how it goes, how they're working on it together, and check in on progress. If there's if each section of their team has different presentation needs that need to be met before they go to their stakeholders. Personally, I found it useful, again, like I mentioned earlier, if there was a deadline that was coming up and I needed to have a quick turnaround time. But it's also useful for less professional presentations because, again, it doesn't give you that exactitude that PowerPoint does. So if you don't need that, if you're doing, say, a newsletter for your community, then it's great for that because it already creates it in such a friendly and attractive format, which is really all you need for a newsletter. And it also has that online format where it's just a link that you click on versus trying to fill up everyone's email box with an extra large PowerPoint or an extra large email file. So let's see, what else can we add to our presentation here? Let's do a video. Now, video can be done a couple of ways. You could do it either as a video card or an embed card. We're going to use embed because I'd like to use use YouTube. Now, embedding is great because it will put the the actual video directly in. Just keep in mind that when you embed something, if it ever disappears from the original source, say YouTube, then it will no longer be a part of your actual presentation. So just keep that in mind as well. And let's go ahead and then put a text card. You can caption anything, but I'm going to caution you about captioning, and this is one of Sway's negatives. The captions don't really show up unless the audience moves their cursor over a particular portion of the page. So captions aren't the best. So we're just going to go ahead and keep it right here, and we'll give it a little caption that'll appear around it, depending on our formatting later, which we'll take a look at. And then I want to go ahead and add just a picture from my personal collection, which you can also do. To access other forms of media besides what they suggest for you, you can click on here on this suggested drop-down arrow, and then I'm going to go to My Device, and My Downloads, and I'm going to suggest this guy here. All right, and while that's loading, I'm also going to grab some more text. You know what? Put that there. Okay, so we have a rudimentary presentation here, and let's see how it looks. So once we have the input, so I put in some mixed media and some text. Let's see what the design looks like. Okay, so it automatically, because of our template that we picked in the beginning, put it into a horizontal design. I don't really want that. I want it vertical. I think that's going to look better. All right, how to groom our dog. Very nice. Yeah, look at that. Much better. Now, this is very, very short, but it does do exactly what I tell it to. It gave me a opening sequence, an introduction, that, and I didn't have to do anything for it. Had this been 5 or 6 slides, it would have been much longer. But let's say I don't like this style, I can also remix it. And see, now it's in slide format, which is also looking like it works well. However, their slide format, I will tell you, is a little bit inferior because you don't get to control where the slide breaks are. So you'll notice this one is 2 slides. So if you have a particular cadence to your presentation style, slides are going to be tough for you. Mix it again. Oof, that looks like an adoption video. That's not going to work well. But you'll see what you can see how it does save you some time, because it gives you these it makes the changes for you, and you don't have to. All you have to do is approve them. And if you do want a little bit more customized, more choice in the matter, you can go down and pick the style for yourself. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. Maybe pick vertical for that, see how it goes. Oh, I love it. This is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and stay with that there. All right, let's go ahead and play. Did some loading. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Made with Microsoft Sway. Okay, so why do we try something new? Well, the world is constantly changing. Even if we don't decide to go with a new idea or a tool, we should be aware of what's out there. Because at the end of the day, our customers are aware of what's out there, and we need to make sure we're on top of things. New ideas change how we think. And again, even if we don't choose to go with Microsoft Sway as a presentation, say we still want to use PowerPoint, we are now aware of a different way of thinking, and that's invaluable. I like Sway because it lets me make website-looking presentations without having me actually make a website, which matches the aesthetic of what I'm trying to do in some of my presentations, but it certainly doesn't replace PowerPoint for more detailed or technical or even professional-looking presentations. So thank you for taking the time to talk with me today about this. Certainly hit like and subscribe if you do. Leave some comments or suggestions in the box below. And I look forward to seeing you again in the Modern Office.